the Shadowe Crew Podcast.
Happy Friday evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another fun-filled, jam-packed episode of the Shadowe Crew Podcast on the Shadow Knows Network. Thanks for tuning in and listening and viewing wherever you are. The multi-stream cast every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Also, tons of content, past videos, past casts, features, all the things exclusively on the Shadowe Crew Podcast Network. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. For those of you listening the first time, viewing for the first time, we're just a bunch of guys with pretty relevant industry experience, but at the end of the day, we're fans of pop culture, comic books, movies, TV, games, and we talk about all the things that are relevant in the world of that. But also, we just like to talk about the things that really get us excited. And so this week we've got a jam-packed episode for you. So without further ado, let's jump right into the agenda. The first thing is we're going to talk about the Bad Batch Season 3 trailer. A bunch of trailers that came out this week. The Walking Dead, The Ones That Live trailer. Rick is back. It wasn't too long before he returns. Is anybody watching The Walking Dead? We'll get into it. Roadhouse remake, the legendary Patrick Swayze film, now Jake Gyllenhaal on Amazon Prime. Big industry news in the world of video games. Unfortunately, 5,000 plus layoffs this year, about 1,500 this past week. Not a good sign for the video game industry, although a bright spot this past week with a new game, a new independent game. And then we were going to finalize this episode with our best of series, as we do every week. The best sidekicks from any media, novels, comics, games, video games, TV, or film. But we're going to do it in a different format. We're going to do a bracket type of contest, like a playoff bracket. And we will, at the conclusion of this cast, vote our number one sidekick of all time. Like, subscribe, and let's jump right into it, folks. So, first off, lots of trailers. What trailer were you excited about of the three that I just mentioned? Or did any of them get you excited?
Bad Batch, actually. There was a couple of surprises that popped up. Some characters I wasn't expecting because of the fact that, some of them we probably thought were ended in the Clone Wars. So that was pretty good. I thought the action looked good. I think they're pulling out everything for the final season 3, and I would say it was like nonstop action in that trailer. But yet again, it was just a surprise of a character that I just did not expect. That I thought, wow, that really made it.
Yeah, I went in. I didn't see the second season, but I did watch the first season, and it was okay, but it wasn't as good as the Clone Wars. But seeing this trailer for season 3, I actually do want to go back now because it looks like they're getting into something that's good, and I can see what they're setting up. So I do kind of want to see that, and so I'll check it out.
Do you think this should have been live action, or does it work as an animated? Animated?
I don't think it would have. I don't think it would have ever worked live action. To be completely honest. There'd have been too much. The budget would have been so highly focused on all of the physical things that I feel like.
And would they all have had to been Tamura Morrison, right?
Yeah.
If it's all clones and they're all different, would you have had to have one guy playing all 5 characters? That just doesn't work in live action unless it's like a movie you can spend the time or something.
Yeah, I mean they screwed up in Willy Wonka. You remember that?
Well, what about Jean-Claude Van Damme when he did was it Double Trouble or whatever?
Yeah, no, it was
only
Double
2.
Impact. It was Double Impact. Okay, and his brother was really mean.
You could tell they were different because the one guy had his hair slicked back.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm definitely that was probably the one that excited me. Although the Roadhouse looked pretty
It
cool.
surprised me.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it, and it doesn't look bad. It still has that same kind of humorous cheesiness that the original did, and the whole UFC angle is something different that they're bringing to it. So I'm actually interested to watch it.
And they had McGregor in it, and the headbutt. It looks like the fight scenes could be really brutal, which is kind of cool.
Well, Jake Gyllenhaal did that UFC movie, remember?
Yeah.
Did he do that yet? He did. Oh yeah, he did that MMA thing.
Yeah, it's like his MMA. I mean, and everyone was like, "What happened to Jake Gyllenhaal?" It's like, well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
hope
look,
it's cheesy
I just
enough though, right? Like, 'cause that was the cool thing about the original. It was just cheesy enough where you didn't take it too seriously, but there was some good fight sequences.
Yeah. Well, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
all I know is there needs to be a heavy emphasis on a band behind a fence with a bunch of shit being thrown at them.
Yes.
Because if that's not
And
there,
that
it's not
was
Roadhouse.
that was a shot in the trailer, I believe.
But I want I want more than a shot. I want like 5 minutes of the movie.
And who's the ultimate badass in his sidekick? Sam, what's from the original one? The long gray hair, the Western.
Oh yeah,
the
Sam
cowboy.
Elliott.
Sam Elliott. He was so cool in that too. So I'm curious to see who his sidekick is.
I hope they just get Sam Elliott again.
Yeah,
just like shit on the end of the bar.
You're like the last boy that was here trying to do this.
Well, not to spoil anything, but I think he dies in the first one. So I don't know how they.
Well, no, he would be a different character.
Yeah.
Or play the same character because this guy's playing the same.
Well, but
character,
that's
Swayze.
But that's a crazy twist on this. Is it's actually just like the haunting of the bar, so none of it's real. It was just it's all just the haunting.
Now we're talking about.
And then at the end, I don't want to ruin the end, but at the end, the kid just shows you a snow globe, so it's really weird. I don't know.
Haunted Roadhouse. That'd be amazing.
With
the trailer did not get me excited at all. Was this Walking Dead? How many? I can't even keep track. Isn't there like 7 spinoffs at this point?
I don't know.
Yep, I have zero fibers in my body excited for The Walking Dead. I was like, I'll watch the trailer, and that's literally all you're gonna get from me.
I think the last spinoff I did was when they had The World Beyond, because I saw like The Walking Dead, Fear of the Walking Dead. Then they did The World Beyond. I was like, okay, they are just really jumping the shark with this.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, and then I saw their previews for I think it was which was can't remember the title, but it had to do with Maggie and
I watched
Negan.
2 episodes of that.
Yeah, I did, and I was like,
it was bad.
It's like, all right, the whole going into Manhattan, and then you're like the Daryl Dixon stuff. I haven't watched one episode, and I'm like, it's just look. There's a time where you have to let something go to rest. And
is there? Obviously, there's not.
Unless
not for corporate America. No,
somebody is watching it. Like there must be making money.
They're not making the numbers that they used to make.
Oh no, of course
anywhere
not.
Near.
But they must be producing these things for relatively cheap, where it's making money advertising.
Oh, I don't know, relatively cheap. I think that's the reason why they got rid of the actual Walking Dead show. There's too many paychecks. But it's not like
and they were shutting down. They were shutting down the town it was in at 5 o'clock every day and paying everybody to go home. That's not cheap.
No,
that's in Georgia.
And and you can also look at just getting the I can't remember the actor's name, the one that plays Rick. This has been since I think he left the actual show initially. They were supposed to be doing this as a set of films. And I think they gauged that and figured no one had the interest of sitting in the theater for this stuff. And now you see, like, I know Norman Reedus has to be extremely expensive because he's one of the few cast members that's almost like from the beginning of the show. So I know his paycheck is just amazing. And then from what I understand, I think Carol is supposed to appear. So that paycheck's going to be pretty
my
hefty as
God.
well for the actors. So I don't know what they're doing. I think when I saw the world ends or the world begins or world beyond, I'm sorry. It was just at this point, like this concept has kind of reached its max. I think maybe Fear the Walking Dead pretty much had destroyed like the series being able to go on. I think it was like that fourth or fifth season where they did the whole cowboy thing, and I was like, okay, you just murdered the entire franchise with this. But for somehow they're just gonna like the old saying is, they're gonna just keep beating a dead horse.
Well, it's a zombie horse, so it can continue to be beaten. And even with Terry O'Quinn, John Locke
Yes.
himself, that didn't give me anything that
Mm-mm.
I was interested in. It's
Yeah, I
like he's a
know.
great actor, and they have him just standing around and shooting zombies in the head with a stick through a wall. And I'm like, okay, this doesn't even look interesting.
Well, he's just getting ready for his next role as Professor Xavier. So
They should
Hey, that's
rename.
not a bad idea, man.
I know.
They should rename it "Walking In" for the ones who are still watching. That should
Exactly.
be the actuals. Yeah,
it's never gonna do what it did when it first came out, when it was like people were like rushing home to watch it to see what was
it's the
going
best.
on. Like
the first
and
couple seasons.
Yeah, the first couple seasons were awesome. Like it got people into the comic book. I got to like harass the dude at Comic-Con for his #1 issue like 4 years straight in a row. But I don't know. I'm with Mr. Storm on this. Like, just
Stop.
put it up. Just stop. Like, just stop. Like, it's.
Well,
Enough.
I think they could have benefited actually from stopping the show and then letting a couple of years go by, like
And
they've
then
done
do a
on
movie, right?
yeah, like they've done on all the other TV shows that we kind of see now, the reunions and all these things. Let it have some time. Let people really go back and watch some of the actual first seasons of it again and say, wow, that was a really good show at this time period. And then you bring it back, and maybe you could actually get an audience that wants to see it. But to just have it consecutively, since I can't remember, it's what early 2000s, like mid early, around about what the 2007 or something.
Because the show was on for 10 years, so it's probably like the early 2010s or
Yeah,
something.
so
When it started,
you've
so
had
It's
it run
2010 to
yeah, you've had it run that many
22.
consecutive years. Is the interest is not really going to be there, and the fandom right now is like, because I remember at one point they had like their own convention. They had like San Diego Comic-Con. They had like zombie obstacle courses. They like it was really at its peak.
Yeah,
And now it's like I don't hear anyone really talking about the show at all.
Yeah, no. At the time, I was I had another YouTube channel with some people, and we filmed ourselves running through the like Walking Dead zombie apocalypse maze at Comic-Con, and it was awesome to get to see it. It was great. It was fantastic. And then year over year, it's just like, oh my god, we're still doing this thing again. Like it's still going again. It's like I don't know. I didn't. The way that I look at the Walking Dead, and I've said this before, one of the biggest reasons why like I was never really a fan of it is like the Walking Dead TV show is almost shot for shot the first half of that show 28 days later. Like like I don't know if you guys remember 28 Days Later or not, but like I'm like, this is like pre-Walking Dead, and then like 28 Days Later happened and the TV show comes out, and then I don't know.
Well, and I think they're running into the same problem as Star Trek, where there's so many things, there's so many spin-offs and other things that if you're coming in at as a beginner, it's like, wait, so do I have to watch 10 seasons of something for this to make sense? And then which of the spin-offs do I have to watch? And it's all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, they should have taken a break, let people calm down, give people a chance to catch up.
Yeah.
And then you can do stuff and actually build some interest instead of let's shove it down your throat.
Mm-hmm.
You keep like this, don't you? No.
I think the biggest problem with that show had being a massive fan for the first couple of years is they took too long to introduce Negan. And when they introduced him, it kind of was like you'd figure it would like have catapulted the series. It kind of was the start to its decline. Like they didn't know, like everyone was like, when is he gonna come? When is he gonna come? And then you finally saw it in the whole Glenn scene, you're like, holy shit. And then the following season, it kind of the steam dropped off. And that's unfortunate because the books were completely opposite. Like once you got Negan, then it was like, holy shit, what is going on? So it's one of those series that have lasted too long, too many spinoffs, as you said. And I think it's way too late to do any movies, even if they stop for 5 years and reintroduce it. You could do like an Amazon Prime movie or something, but nobody's going to the box office to see this crap. Like it's just not good anymore. It's really not watchable. Like I've tried to watch some of these spinoffs. It's just not good.
How long can these zombies roam? You know, it's like,
yeah,
okay,
it's
been 10 years
planet.
now.
There's for sure not enough brains for them to roam that long.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think like everything runs its course. And I think that's the problem. AMC is thinking that this is their cash cow. I remember at one point there was an interview said, no, we see The Walking Dead going for like 10 or 15 years. I'm like, who's that executive and why does he still have a job? Because that doesn't make any sense. You don't keep something up when the ratings are constantly declining, and the pivots that they're doing is, okay, so like, Gerald Dixon goes overseas someplace, Maggie and Negan go to New York or Manhattan, and it's like nothing's kind of changed from Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead scenario. It's the same thing.
Like if you just listen to like what you said, like it almost sounds like you're pitching like a comedy reel for like where you could put the Walking Dead in the Abyss crossover, like Walking Dead and Mars crossover, like just it's like the Walking Dead insert. Where else could you like Walking Dead High School Years is going to be next?
Well,
so
there was I remember
so they could revamp it.
I remember in the comic they had like I think a one-off where they did it, and I think it was over in Japan, and they were showing it from a completely different perspective. And I'm like, if you were going to do something like that, then it would make sense if you did a completely, British show and it was all British people and none of the actual Walking Dead characters, and see what's it like over in that section of the world, or, one that's, Walking Dead Asia or something. Do something where it's complete, but you're just rehashing the same characters and you're just putting them in different spots. And it worked with Fear the Walking Dead for a couple of seasons, and then it didn't. And right now, I think they even have like Tales of the Walking Dead. It's like, well, how much and how many stories do we need to keep telling from this one same universe? It's like, there's only so many, again, there's only so many Walking Dead zombies walking around. There's only so many people. When does it get, like, maybe they did The Walking Dead end, and then they showed us kind of like, I guess the old Rick, and it's towards the end of it. Maybe that might have been interesting, but not at this point.
Give me samurais versus zombies.
Samurai Jack.
Yeah, I'll take any samurai.
Zombies on a submarine.
Oh.
So they're trapped in one location.
They already did that, man.
Shit. Where?
Yeah, they already did that.
Yeah, there's Red Dawn.
Here, AMC.
No. The Walking Dead actually did that. It was the sub from Fear the Walking Dead that. And they did a little short or something that was done. So
I'm talking about like a U.S. nuclear submarine. And
I think this was a Russian submarine.
So you're talking how about Under Siege, but like zombies, and Seagal is like trying to beat the zombies. Here's a free one for you, AMC. Get rid of the zombie stuff and maybe make They Live, the movie from '88, a TV series. There's a freebie for you. They've been talking about trying to do John Carpenter's thing for a long time. I think he holds that very close. Like, I don't think he wants to let that go, but if done right, that'd be a pretty epic TV series.
And that's something you could build up. Yeah.
Over
seasons.
Especially now with like government control and who's really like, who's the puppet masters. It would do a lot of ratings. So it sounds like we're unanimous. Roadhouse, pretty interesting. We'll see how things go. Bad Batch looks, hey, this could be the final season, right? Did they announce this is the final season?
They did, yes.
They did. And then The Walking Dead, the ones who are still watching, well, We're not, but maybe you are. So if
Good
you
luck.
are watching, drop us a comment on the channel, like, subscribe. We appreciate you all viewing and listening this evening. Jumping into the next topic, video game industry might be in trouble. So at the peak during COVID, a lot of industries shut down. A lot of people lost their jobs. One industry that became a massive boom was streaming, was gaming, because everyone was on their ass at home and they didn't know what to do with themselves. We're getting to a point now where we're seeing massive shifts in that whole industry. Streaming, like Twitch, we covered last podcast, in trouble. Now we're seeing tons of layoffs. Again, 5,000 layoffs plus from companies like Microsoft and Riot Games and Activision and Sledgehammer Games. It's unfortunate for for a lot of people. And so we want to first say that. But secondly is like, what in the hell is going on with the video game industry? And before we get into a bright spot that I'm sure Chet would want to talk about an independent game that actually crushed it last week, I'd love to just open this up to all of us to talk a little bit about the video game industry as it exists today.
Well, do you think that it's so historically the video game industry does this crap a lot? They bring a bunch of people on, they run them into the ground, promise, game gets close to launch, they let entire teams, like just massive amount of people go. But do you think that it's polarized right now just because, like, if you take Microsoft, right? Like with Microsoft, you had the Activision stuff, and then also their physical game department all gone. Like, what do you think? What do you think is causing? What do you think is causing that? And is it more polarizing?
I think it's a level of corporate greed, man. It boils down to is that, look, when obviously, I don't know if anyone else has ever done this, but I've been a part of a corporate takeover and I was on the right side of it, but one thing that I know that we went in and did was, I remember our higher ups was like, look, when we walk through the door, like our mission is to get rid of 45% of that next workforce over there. A lot of those people, when we go in, it's going to get fired. We knew that walking right in the door. And then they asked us who we want to retain and who were the people that we were willing to let go. So, when Microsoft does the whole Activision Blizzard kind of scenario and they merge all these other things, well, obviously, if you were at, Blizzard and Activision, you're gone. That's just a predetermined thing. The higher ups, the redundancy, they're just going to get rid of those people. So we knew right off the bat that whenever you do a merger, it's the same thing when Fox took over Disney. We knew that, or when Disney took over Fox, we knew Fox, those people were gone, and the same thing that happened to, what was the animation studio, Dr. Brentley, the Blue Harvest, or what was it? What was the
Blue Sky.
Fox? Yeah, Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
Yeah, they're completely gone because they're like, well, we got Pixar. What do we need these people for? It happens. It's just a point of them, like the speech that they always do is like, hey, we're going to come in, it's going to make things better and everything, not for the people that work for the other company you took over. Those people are gone. And it was swift and it was quick. And I don't know if it's going to recover in the same way for these poor individuals, especially now that we're looking at the beginning of the year, they're out of jobs, because there's not enough in the industry to support that. The same thing like the animation division. I remember when 3D took over, 2D people were like, some of those people never went back to those jobs again because they just weren't there. So, it happens, but it's just a shame that, all this consolidation's going on and people are massively losing their jobs due to it.
Well,
Yeah.
part of the problem, I think, is it costs so much money to make these games. Is like, does it really cost $100-200 million to make these games? It's as bad as Hollywood, where it's like, you don't need to make these things this expensive if you actually plan ahead and do it right. And I just don't see where this money is going, because then, yeah, each game has to be a tremendous smash hit to even make your money back.
Yeah. Well, the other problem too is like we talked a little bit, I think, before about streaming, and I've definitely talked about like streaming and digital content and things like that. And digital content with video games, and what's becoming a problem in the video game industry is that you basically Ubisoft's like CEO, whoever he was, said they don't want you to own anything, but you're also supposed to be happy. And that's a real problem. There's been games where it's like, I remember I bought this game Evolve, and it was one of the first games like my friend Chuck and we played it at E3, and it's like it's 4v1, but if you're one, you're the monster, you're running around, everyone else is trying to kill you, whatever. And it was fantastic, right? I paid $90 for like an extended version of that shit. And within a year, it's just gone. And I didn't get a physical copy, I didn't get anything, but within a year, like I can't access it anymore, but I didn't get my money back. And it's the same thing with like digital streaming in gaming. It's like the days where you can justify a game like on PS5 being $70 and it's non-physical, I think it's just gone. Like I don't buy games anymore if they're that expensive, because I know I can just wait until it hits like, on sale on Steam or something else. And the other problem too is like Steam is still going strong. All the top sellers in Steam are not AAA titles. And so when you look at it in terms of like, I get if you want to charge $70 for a physical game, but that same game digitally needs to be half that price, because you're not there. It's all profit. And I know people will say, no, it's not. There's licensing and this and that, but licensing, when you get into licensing and it's actually a lot of money, it's because you're licensing from like Marvel, or you're licensing like big characters from Disney, or like Pokemon, whatever it is. Like, yeah, you might have to pay a licensing fee, but if you think about it, $70 on a production physical copy game covers production, licensing, and gets everyone else paid. But if you're not doing the production costs, like, well, you should subtract that, because literally you're just putting the image up on a server for PS5, Xbox, and Steam to read. They buy it. That's 100% pure profit. And I don't like, I'll argue that until I'm like blue in the face, because like 70 for, I'm not getting anything physical. And I think there needs to be a shift in the video game industry because of that, because people now especially are like speaking with their wallets. And like Chris said, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but like when you like, I remember when Among Us came out, and that thing blew everything else out of the water that came out, and like they had like, in comparison, like no money invested in that game, and it was a hit, and it still is. People still play that thing. It's still fun to play, and so like, how many AAA titles do you play nonstop, right? Like everyone talks about, oh, I play Spider-Man. It's like, yeah, but once you complete it, you don't play it again. Trust me.
Well, that's it. Think about this. There used to be a time, and probably like during the pandemic era for sure, like Call of Duty, Warzone, so many people were playing that. There was so much competing content for things for people to do. Now that they're not just locked to their homes, it has to be really compelling for somebody to sit down and play a video game for many hours. And there has to be some type of social atmosphere where your buddies are jumping on, or your friends or family. And there's not a lot of those games, combined with these crazy amount of budgets that Dr. Brantley just said. Here's something, put some things in perspective. And we talked a bit about this with the Godzilla year one, and how much they spent and how much they made versus these big box office. So Pal World is an independent video game that just recently came out. Is very similar to Pokemon, independent developed, not a major studio. I'm going to read some numbers off to y'all so you can, in comparison. So Spider-Man 2, one of the biggest video games of the year. The budget was $315 million for Spider-Man 2. Okay. That's more than like 3 of the movies I think that they made.
Yeah.
Okay. But here you
Wow.
go. So $315 million. Good game, right? Like got awards. People are excited.
Better
like,
be.
Yeah, it got good reviews. $315 million. In 11 days, that $315 million, and I'm not saying what it made total. It may have recouped its money. I have to research. But just in 11 days, it made about $5 million in sales in 11 days.
Jeez.
This Palworld independent game that just recently released, their budget was $6.7 million. And in 7 days, it made $8 million in sales and $1.5 million in Game Pass downloads on Xbox.
That sounds reasonable.
And
See, that's how you do a budget and release a game.
And how many people did you employ for a $315 million game?
Oh,
Probably what?
Thousands.
150? Like, yeah, even
had
that.
to be.
So, but what about that game made it that popular? And it was this social thing. It went viral. It was, I don't know, Chad, if you want to talk a bit about it because you played it firsthand, but it's just blowing up like crazy. And it's this phenomenon. And it's literally an independent studio. Like, I guess we're just not learning things in this industry. We're not in entertainment industry. We're Godzilla Year One. Oh, this was low budget. Like,
you mean
risk.
everyone that's passionate that has the ability to make something that ends up being successful is really what that says, right? But no one wants to take the chance, and so people make things like Palworld. Now, there's been talks of, you see this thing floating around where Nintendo's given like cease and desist, whatever, because there's Pokemon, but that's really due to a modder that's modded the game to have like Pokemon, and you could do Ash Ketchum as like your main character. But what I'll say about the game is this: I definitely downloaded it on Game Pass to test it out, and then I went and bought it on Steam, and now I have it on Steam, and I have a Steam Deck, so I want to be able to play it. But where it really takes off is it's open world. So I can jump on this cross-platform. So already they're winning, right? They're like, cool. If people want to play our games, it's gotta be PC, Xbox. Like, you gotta be able to play across platforms. It's not a problem. And it's open world, and you control your own world. And if I want you to come in, I just send you an invite code and you join my world. But the world, yes, you have pals running around that you have to catch and feed, and you develop them, and then there's fights. But the other aspect of the game is that you build your base. Like, you're building a base, you construct housing, you have a box you put them in. They fight for you if other things come in, and
it's like Tamagotchi.
Like, yeah, it's literally like Tamagotchi. Like, I love. There's a game that I play a lot called Valheim, and it's basically just like a Viking version of Minecraft. But Valheim is great. You go on and play, you build your house, you do all these things. And in Palworld, that's literally what it is. Like, I sent Chris, I think I sent you the meme, but you guys remember in Iron Man 1 where they're talking and he says he built that suit in a cave with spare parts.
Yeah.
Well, they cut that out and they put Palworld over, and it's in reference to Nintendo going and saying like they built this game in a cave with like spare parts. Like, what is your problem? Because Nintendo, if they would have made this game for Pokemon, it would have just done what it's doing now.
And they could have done it for $6.7 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. They could have done it for probably less, because they have that they could have literally taken the backbone of Zelda and churned it into this game.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it. And it's worth every penny. It's literally, and it's $30. It's $30 on Steam. And they made that much money on Steam, discounting it like 25% for the first week it was out. So, like, process that. Spider-Man 2 is $70 effing dollars, okay? And it doesn't even do that much money. And this thing is outselling that at less than half of the cost.
Wait. So what you're telling me is what I'm hearing from you, Chet. Reasonable budget.
Yeah.
great social game, easy to play, low cost gateway to entry to purchase. And then last but not least is you don't have to spend a shitload on marketing because it's word of mouth that goes viral. I wonder if like any of the major studios would take notice of these things.
Also, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun too.
You know,
Like, oh yeah, it's fun. Let's whiteboard that. We got to make it fun too.
It's fun. Well, no, put that on the back burner. How can we make
But-
money?
But if you noticed, in the same exact way that the video game industry is having this little slump at the moment, that's the same exact way that comics and films did.
Yeah.
It's the everything is a microcosm of like the same things previously before, and this is what's going down. It's like look, I remember where I worked with guys that was like, oh hell, I ain't going to work, man, because Call of Duty's there, and they would like be like 48 hours playing this game, and you would think to yourself like you're going to actually miss your rent money because you're playing a video game. And now it's like I haven't seen or heard anyone, and I have younger nephews and everything else like that. They're in their early 20s, and they're not playing video games as much anymore. And I think probably one of the major factors, and this may come down to it as well, is that possibly because people are working 10 times harder than they used to be. There's people with like 2 jobs. I know so many people in their 20s, so they don't have the time because the cost of living and everything else is up.
Yeah.
And I just think that video games is just like comics. People, I don't have the time to drive to the store. Now people like, I don't have the time to sit 12 and 13 hours, but they used to be events. Like I remember people would be like at midnight waiting for like the new launch of games. The GameStop, Best Buy, it was.
Yeah,
I used to do it all the time.
You don't hear about it anymore, and it's the same thing. It's like have they maybe oversaturated themselves, or have they made themselves too non-accessible? Because now when you can play a game on your phone, why do you have to have this like $600-700 exclusive system at home when you can play it on your phone on your lunch break?
Yep.
It's not accessible to them anymore, man.
Yep, definitely.
And I do want to say one thing about the physical copy versus digital copy. Comic books ran into the same thing. It's like you're charging me the exact same price for a digital version that I can see on my phone, or I can have the same price and have a physical copy that you had to print, you had to ship, you have to pay the price of the people in the comic book shop, and they're getting a discount on that price. And why is this the same? This should be like 99 cents.
Yeah.
And the physical copy is like $4.99, right?
Yeah.
Well, it makes no sense.
They always try to spin that crap like server space is expensive and
No,
this
it's
and that.
not.
And it's like, no, it's not. I can stand up an AWS server and I can get that crap up and running to host as many comics as I want with 1,000 concurrent connections for like $35 a month. So
There's
a difference. If you have to print something out, ship it across country to every comic shop in the nation, right? And overseas and all this kind of stuff. And you're telling me that is going to be the exact same price for the same thing that I'm just typing in and it's pulling up and it's about 30 megabytes, right? Okay.
Even if you want to get past like Apple and Google's like fee for buying things, that's $1.30. And then they get their 30 cents and you can have.
There's a reason why they can do it, and that's because they can just get away with it.
Because they can.
And until
they aren't getting away with it.
Because no one's buying digital comics.
But what I'm saying though,
well, same thing, games.
I'm saying video games are people still until it gets to a point where they're just not selling games, and some of these folks are starting to experience it, and these layoffs are starting to happen, and it's unfortunate to the people that are losing their jobs. But pretty soon they're going to realize it's the same thing with the streaming thing, right? Twitch, like people aren't watching anymore, people are not subscribing anymore, people are not like donating anymore, and that is revenue. And again, what you said, Mr. Storm, people are speaking with their wallets more and more. So at the end of the day, we like video games. We talked about the new Indiana Jones. We like Call of Duty. Like we want the industry to thrive, but I
Mhm.
think it does need to take notice of some of these independent developers of what's working, the secret sauce. So I want to jump into our meaty topic for the evening. For those of you that are viewing for the first time, we are the Shadowe Crew Podcast, exclusively on the Shadow Knows Network. We multi-stream 7 p.m. Pacific time every Friday. Check us out. We got lots of content videos from past episodes, but we do this best of series every evening. Feel free to drop a comment, like, subscribe. But we are going to talk about, in a bracket fight, playoff bracket, the best sidekick of all time. And cartoons, films, TV, literature, who are the best sidekicks and who is the best sidekick of all time. There'll be some honorable mentions at the end, and I'm sure we've forgotten some, but I think at the end of the day, we've captured probably the most of them, but we'd love to hear what you all think. So, gentlemen, are you ready to get into the bracket fight competition, the best of series, best sidekicks?
Absolutely
I'm
ready, man.
All right, let us do it. Okay. So, the first contest is Dr. Spock versus the lovable starfish SpongeBob's.
Screw that fish. Spock wins.
You notice that he's also doing the
Yes.
live long and prosper.
Yeah,
Well, he's trying to. Well, let's be clear here. I mean, there is no SpongeBob without Patrick the Starfish. You know, this is
Obviously.
like he's like the Stimpy to Ren, if you know what I mean. So we
Are you
have
gonna
one
go
vote
against Kirk and Spock?
We have one
I
vote.
like SpongeBob, but he's no Kirk. Okay.
Yeah. Look, and also like Patrick hasn't died yet, you know, and been resurrected. So that kind of goes to Spock, bro.
Okay. Mr. Chet Maddox. I love that you're thinking about this. Spock. All right. I'm sorry, Mr. Patrick the Starfish. Spock has won. Our next fight is Podrick from the Game of Thrones series. If you recall, Podrick was like the right hand to
Brienne.
Brienne, but also at one point he was also with what was the Lannister? What's the I don't remember his name. The small guy. At one point, but
Tywin.
he was Tywin, yes. So, and then obviously we've got War Machine, not just the movies, but just print as well. War Machine to Iron Man. Who wins this matchup?
Well, which War Machine are we talking here? The War Machine from Iron Man #1.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Well, yes. Is it Rhodey or is it War Machine? Because
just the character War. We're gonna say
I would say just
Rhodey.
Yeah. Let's just say War Machine. So, I got to say War Machine, man. If there's anybody if there's anybody rocking with a dude who's arrogant, who's an alcoholic, who is underappreciative, and has boatloads of money,
Podrick.
come on.
But we're not talking about me right now. We're talking about these two.
I'm gonna say Podrick on this one. I totally get you, Mr. Storm, on War Machine, but if I think of the Game of Thrones, the books, the TV series, like Podrick was there to the very end. Talk about like shoulder to shoulder fighting, like through this massive journey, loyal. I'm gonna say Podrick on this one.
Rhodey ain't loyal. He went against Tony several times.
But like I said, did he do it while he had a DJ? Like, so, scratching his that's right there. He's like, hey, it's like, give me a beat so I can whip my buddies behind and shit. Like that's the greatest line of all time, bro. Come on.
All right, Mr. Maddox, you decide. Is it Podrick or do we have a tie? We have to go into overtime to figure out who the winner of this matchup is.
Mine's gonna be War Machine.
Ooh, so we're split.
Yeah, I mean,
down
like,
the middle.
I get what you're saying about Game of Thrones, but I don't know. I like
What has Rhodey done besides lose?
I'm not basing it off. I'm basing it off just War Machine.
Yeah, but he was only War Machine in.
If I'm basing it off this picture, it's gonna be Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not. I'm basing it off War Machine.
Rhodey crashed and had to go to rehab. Podrick was there the whole time and helping out different people.
I see what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't think he's a very good sidekick, Rhodey. Or War Machine.
Well, okay, that's you. Okay, so let me break this down then, because I understand what you're trying to say, but let me explain it. If we're talking loyalty from sidekicks, Rhodey's out of the picture.
Yeah.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with sidekicks. Being loyal.
You want one to have your back, right?
Like I understand that, but I'm saying like, yeah, he's definitely like there's times where he like with Iron Man, whatever. But like if you're going the loyalty path of like pure sidekick, what that means, and it's got to go to Game of Thrones.
Yeah, we're gonna go with Game of Thrones. It would be like Macho Man is the best sidekick. He turned on Hulk Hogan, so he can't be the best sidekick, you know. So
I thought he was going to turn on the Slim Jims.
Oh yeah.
So Podrick's winning that. Our next matchup, Robin, and this is just Robin the character. It's not movie film. It's just happens to be a print version. And then our lovable Shrek the donkey, voiced by Eddie Murphy in the Shrek series. Who do we have here?
Well, if you ask Cat Williams, there's probably an issue with the donkey. So I'm going to go with Robin, man.
Yeah, even though Donkey loves waffles, I'm still going to have to go with Robin.
There you go.
Yeah, it's pretty clear cut for me, Robin.
Which Robin are we talking about?
Well, I'm saying just Robin, like the general character, like
Dick Grayson, I would imagine, is the main Robin. Hey, rich guy helped me after my parents died and brought me in and then secretly taught me to be a ninja, and we go out at night and beat people up.
Unless it was his son.
Way
Damian
better
Wayne.
than Donkey.
Yeah, it's Robin.
Robin is the answer. Next up, we have. Ooh, this is a tough one.
The ad of the horse.
Kato from the Green Lantern, not Green Lantern, the Green
Green Lantern,
Green Hornet.
Green Hornet.
Yes, and Abe
Lantern,
Sapien from Hellboy. So, I thought this one was going to be a tough one.
Yeah, this one is a tough one because again, I don't know. One's more modern, and I think, to be quite honest with you, one's probably a little bit more mainstream known, because I don't think Kato is really as mainstream as Abe Sapien. So if I've got to say, like, hey, who's riding around with the right hand of doom? It's got to be Abe Sapien for me, bro.
Yeah. Hold on one second. We had an ad, so I'll have to go back. Okay. Just like pumping those ads on the thing.
Nope, you just have to leave the ad.
I guess so. Okay. Okay, so Abe Sapien for Mr. Storm.
Mm-hmm.
See, I went with Kato all the way, just because, first of all, it's Bruce Lee. And,
that's
Abe can,
from the TV show. But Kato's a literary character.
Yes. And sure, it might be a little problematic nowadays. But he did have, he was in the movie with Seth Rogen. That was only, 10 years ago. So he's not completely unknown. But I don't know. I just think Kato is a cooler character. And he drives you around. That's a cool sidekick. What's Abe do?
Of course he drives him around.
I'm gonna go with, as much as I agree with the Kato thing, I have to go with, I think Abe Sapien is so important to Hellboy, and that dynamic is really cool. Two conflicting opposite personalities that gel so well together. I'm gonna go Abe Sapien. So, Mr. Maddox, will you sway us towards Abe, or do we have to get into overtime and go?
No, I'm going with Abe.
All right, Abe Sapien.
Yeah, Seth Rogen killed the Hornet.
Okay, next up is Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. Obviously, a sidekick, troubled sidekick, if you will, but right there. And then Groot, sidekick to Rocket and the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I thought this might be a tough one too.
No, brother, come on.
Groot?
No, man, this Jesse Pinkman.
No.
Oh,
No.
come on.
Oh, see,
Come
that's
on.
what I'm saying. I
Jesse
like how then you all were
totally-
like, "No way, this is not going to be
No.
tough." And then,
No. Jesse betrayed Walter and got away. Walter's dead, and Jesse is out in his El
In his-
Camino doing
Yeah,
running
stupid
around.
spin-off movies.
If you distinctly remember the show and everything that, like I said, Walter needed him to almost kill somebody for him. You know, like I said again, there's no ride or die better than those two, man. Now Groot and everything, he just had to.
He saved
grow
everybody.
and
He
barely
gave
saved-
his arm for Thor's
Yeah, come on.
axe. I mean,
Jesse gave
Come
his
on.
girlfriend. He lost his,
look,
family.
she was
home.
kind of
You know, what I'm saying
not
it's
good though.
his family home. He lost his entire life by the end of the show and everything because he could never go back to that. Like this,
That
man
doesn't
has
make him a
suffered.
good sidekick. That just means
Oh.
his life is
Let
screwed
me
up.
tell you something, man. He ride and died. with
Well, no,
my
he
man.
rode. He didn't die. Walter
Well,
died.
Well, he technically, the Jesse Pinkman's the identity's dead, bro. So yeah, he did.
No,
Like I
Groot.
said, no.
Groot. He saves his friends.
No,
He's a man of few words, and he'll do anything for you if he's on your side.
see, one
Yeah,
of the things I would say that my argument would be, I think sometimes Jesse Pinkman was forced,
of course.
and persuaded and blackmailed, like, to be a sidekick,
Let
right?
me- let me express something to you. Dr. Brentley and I wouldn't be friends if he didn't do half the crack that Walter did. Like, what are you talking about?
Hey,
That's
we weren't
that's
going to
total
talk about that,
friendship.
right?
Yeah.
So
That's total
I'll-
friendship, bro.
I'm gonna go with Groot on this one because I do think, as much he's a sidekick, there was too many ups and downs with Jesse, and put Walter at risk. And I think he wasn't totally a volunteer in being a sidekick at times, although as fascinating a character that he was. So Groot is ride or die for the Guardians and for Rocket. So that's my answer. Mr. Maddox.
I mean, both of these are fantastic, but again, if we're talking loyalty, you got to go with Groot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let me preface that with saying that Breaking Bad is literally my favorite show ever made.
Hmm.
And
It's a fantastic show.
and
Jesse's a great character.
Jesse's character was
not a good sidekick.
fantastic, but he was horrible as a sidekick. There was no
Yes.
loyalty.
Okay.
There was all
So
It was
Groot is the winner. Harley Quinn, Joker's sidekick, and
that's ride or die.
Wong, Doctor Strange sidekick. So two in the comic realm, DC Marvel. This I thought could be a tough one as well.
I'm
Well,
gonna.
I'll pull a Chet Maddox. We're talking loyalty here. You got to go with Wong.
No.
No
You
way.
go
Yes.
with Harley
No, no,
Quinn.
no.
Wong didn't have-
no.
No. Because
Wong didn't portray
no,
like
Wong-
we
Nobody
talking
No,
took his job, didn't he?
no. No. If you're
What kind of a
using-
sidekick is that?
If you're using the loyalty piece, Harley, you're not gonna get any more loyal than Harley Quinn. She went crazy and went after the Joker and wanted to be there. Like you're not.
She totally abandoned him.
Only in the
She's-
movies.
No, in the book too. She's abandoned him several times. They've had a toxic relationship. Like I said, she's gone on to be like, come up with her own gang. If you look at the animated show and everything else there, Wong has just been there. Wong has done it through the multiverse and through everything else and everything. I'm sorry. Harley Quinn is looking for, if we take the whole White Knight scenario that Sean Gordon Murphy did, Harley did Joker wrong, bro. So in every situation, Wong is the more loyal, although because his job was taken, technically he's got no place else, but he did get it back. He's now the Sorcerer Supreme himself. So and look how him and Stephen Strange has worked that relationship out. I got to go Wong, man. I say when it says loyalty, I can't give it to Harley.
I think it's Harley.
Nope, can't give it to her.
I'm gonna go Harley, man, because it's just like if there's someone that's just as psychotic to Joker's ways, it's that character, right? It's just synonymous with the Joker. So I hear you on the Wong thing, but when I think like best sidekick, Joker's right hand. Mr.
Yep.
Maddox.
Oh, I said I'm Harley all the way.
Okay. All right. I think our last matchup or two, we got two left. We're going to finish this side of the bracket and declare a winner, and then we'll go and move to the other bracket. Scooby-Doo.
Well, first of all, this is a flawed premise because Scooby-Doo is the main character. Shaggy should be the sidekick, but it's Scooby-Doo.
It's Scooby. Are you sure this is Goose from Top Gun, the original?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Scooby-Doo has been alive since 1969 and still going strong. Goose?
One movie.
Let's be honest though. Goose, he's a wingman, which is a definition of a sidekick. You're in the same plane together fighting bad guys. It doesn't get much more sidekicky than that.
And what happened? His guy he's trying to be the wingman to shot him into the roof of his...
Maverick killed him.
Yeah.
So like Maverick should be the
Literally.
best, one of the most evil people ever. He killed his friend. No one ever talks about that because he went mental. I don't know. I think,
and then he throws his dog tags off the side of the boat at the end of the movie. It's like, well, that's disrespectful. How about his wife? How about his kid? They might want that, but
yeah, just might as well just
Scooby-Doo wins.
Yeah, I've got to. Well, technically, he's not the sidekick because the show is named after him. But yeah, it's a Scooby-Doo wins. Yeah, it's very easy. As long as you give him and Shaggy some Scooby snacks, they'll do whatever. They'll murder a person for it.
Chet.
Oh, Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby would have survived that plane crash. It's like, roll, Maverick.
Yeah, and would have caught the dog tags.
Mm-hmm.
And then our last matchup until we get into the quarterfinals here is Samwell Tarly from Game of Thrones, obviously the sidekick to Jon Snow, and John Connor, T2, obviously to Arnold's character in a major story implication of the whole Terminator franchise. So,
boo.
Who do we think?
It's Sam.
Yeah, it's Sam.
John Connor sucks, especially the young kid. I order you not to go. No.
I'm going to say Sam, too. Chad, I think you're outnumbered here.
That's right, I'll be back.
All right. Now, Spock versus Podrick.
Podrick's dead man. Spock wins.
Still Spock.
Spock?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Robin versus Abe Sapien.
Robin.
Okay. These are getting easier. Groot versus Harley Quinn.
Groot.
I'm gonna go Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Harley Quinn.
Chet.
Oh, Harley Quinn.
Okay. Oh, okay. And Scooby-Doo versus
Scooby-Doo.
That dog is gonna eat that boy.
No, I say Scooby-Doo, man.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo.
Okay. Ooh,
Spock.
This is are you sure?
Yes.
Robin for me.
To Batman?
Spock.
Robin is ride or
Robin
die,
out the
man.
water.
Come on.
Yeah.
No, well, but literally, both of them have died.
Yes, this is the resurrected sidekick matchup.
But one had a planet formed around him, so I got to say Spock on that one.
Chet.
I'm Robin.
Oh.
Man. I gotta go Spock. As much I think it's so close.
Well, it's
But-
only logical, man.
It's only and Harley Quinn versus
Oh,
Scooby Doo.
Scooby Doo.
Be do.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah.
Is
I
it
think
Scooby?
I think-
Way more loyal.
Well, since 1969, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So the first half of the
Oh.
bracket, Spock or Scooby?
I still got to say Spock on that one. Yeah, I got
Scooby.
Scooby snacks. It's gotta be Spock for me. All right. Spock is your clear winner for bracket number 1. And now we're gonna
think
go
you
to
guys are-
bracket number 2. Who will take on Spock in the finale?
I don't think you guys are playing
Luigi
this right.
Or Kevin Smith.
versus
Silent Bob.
Silent Bob.
Oh, it's Silent Bob. I thought it was just Kevin Smith. being
No,
the
no,
character
no.
that he normally is. So it's
Silent Bob beats Luigi, I think.
No way. Luigi
No,
is the ultimate
no,
sidekick.
no, brother,
He's
no.
No,
talking
I'm
about.
I'm on Silent Bob, and also like hopefully he's listening because I'll be on his cruise next month. So
Yeah, well,
Silent
all
Bob.
There's
He's
no
the
way.
talk about a loyal
Luigi is
sidekick.
the
Yeah,
ultimate-
Luigi is his brother. He's
Yeah,
got
Luigi's
to be
the-
loyal.
That's
This
what
is-
is
what are
His
you talking
hetero
about?
life mate.
Luigi's
Hey,
the
what-
ultimate
Hey,
sidekick.
what are you talking about, dude? Your brother doesn't have to be loyal. That's what you're talking
Well,
about.
that's true.
Is Cain and Abel? Did you not get 10 points? He doesn't have to be loyal. Like that, he just rocks them. Come on, man. They're failed plumbers in New York City that go to some crap place.
Yeah, they
That
eat some
basically-
mushrooms and
Yeah.
hang out in the sewer. Okay.
Come on, man. Like I
Think
said
about in
again,
video game history, another player 2
mhm.
that is synonymous. Like Luigi's the player 2. He's like the sidekick to Mario. Like he is so legendary. I get Silent Bob, but come on, Luigi.
Yeah.
Silent Bob offers something. Luigi is just there. He's the guy. If you didn't get there first, then he's your second pick.
So are you saying if
Silent
Luigi,
Bob?
Wait. Are you saying if Luigi passed a joint to Mario at times that he would be okay like Silent Bob?
I don't think Luigi would be smoking.
Mhm.
I think that's offensive.
Well,
that
have you
would
played
even bring
Luigi's
that
Mansion? Have you played Luigi's Mansion?
up.
This
No.
is a tough one. I'm sticking to Luigi.
I'm sticking with Silent Bob. He shuts his mouth until he actually has something important to say, and then he'll talk for a minute and then shut up again.
Let me tell you something. That's about the only unlike Kevin Smith thing that Silent Bob is.
It's called acting.
Yeah, and it's one of the few times because shut his mouth up, Kevin Smith does not do.
All
But
right.
Luigi knows when to be quiet.
All right, Chet, you're gonna make this final decision here. You have to. It sounds like it's a tie. Are you going Bob or are you going Luigi here? Are you going Kevin Smith? Is Kevin Smith doing a cruise?
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, you can't say it's Luigi then because
well, here's the point.
someone
It's
sees
in
this.
the
you're
end
doomed.
of
Let's-
February.
Throw
let's
you
be
overboard.
honest. Let's be honest. Kevin Smith's not watching this, so you can say whatever you want. He won't be able to find this. Believe me, you can say whatever. You want.
I mean, if I'm going with my own, I don't know. They're both loyal though. That's like my deciding factor on how I land on this. But
Silent Bob
okay,
also
I'm gonna-
has hidden Batman belt, and he's
Yeah.
got grappling hooks and all sorts of stuff. He's got everything that you need when you need it. What does Luigi do except he
And
can
he
kind of
was
drive
also-
a car?
he was also loyal throughout all the movies.
Oh, you've got to understand, Luigi. The one thing is Luigi's never hit on the princess. He's just been like, "Hey,
That's true.
that's Mario. That's Mario's
that's a
girl,
big-
man." You know,
that's
that's
a big-
I'm
that
gonna
to
go.
me-
I'll go Luigi only because of my childhood.
Okay, thank you.
But
Next
that's
up, Watson to Sherlock Holmes versus
Ugh.
Bucky Barnes to Captain America.
Watson.
I got to say Watson because anybody that's is in the shadow of somebody as smart ass to Sherlock Holmes Most
Well,
definitely.
yeah, and when is a doctor the second smartest guy in the room, right?
to a opium addict. You got to give Dr. Watson. He's taking some crap here, bro.
Yeah, I'll go with Watson for sure.
Yep.
Chet, what
Same,
say you?
Same. Watson.
That's anonymous.
Okay.
Ugh.
Now, Dr.
Oh,
Brantley,
man.
before the podcast, had some thoughts on this.
I know. Yeah, he said short round.
I do think Short Round is a better Indiana Jones sidekick just because he was actually with there. He saved Indiana Jones more than once. And
But
Sala,
was
yeah,
he
he
in
helped
the
him
last
out.
movie?
But
Was he in the last movie? Did they bring him back?
no, because
No, they
they're
say
stupid.
they relegated him to Loki. So
Yeah.
technically,
Well, let me ask you a question. If it's Short Round or Sala, does he beat Falcon to Captain America?
Yeah.
Does Sala beat Falcon, in your opinion?
I'm on the fence on that one.
But Short Round for sure.
Short Round does.
What about you, Chet, Mr. Storm? Would you say either one of the two beat Falcon?
See, if it was the 1970s version of Falcon, maybe, because he had like bell bottoms and like, an afro and everything else like that. So, he had to rock with like Steve Rogers, was the ebony and ivory thing. But the Sam Winston version, again, Winter Soldier, that's a pretty good movie, man. I think tad bit he was rocking with him a little bit more with some Shield Harry carriers. So I gotta say the Falcon. It's
all right. Chet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Falcon because he's such a good sidekick. He becomes Captain America.
Yeah, again, another sidekick that takes the main guy's job? I don't think so. Short Round's not trying to be Indiana Jones. He's just trying to be Short Round, help out his buddy. But whatever.
We got Tonto, and it doesn't have to be Johnny Depp's.
No,
it better not be.
But obviously Tonto and
Chewbacca wins.
Look, man. Tonto basically, from what we know of, like, down through the history, technically was more taunting, the Lone Ranger and everything. But like Chewie was fixed in the Millennium Falcon while like Han was out there playing in the snow. Crap,
I think that, unanimous. Chewbacca. Anybody? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
It's the easy one.
We got Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, if you all remember that movie, and you got Buzz Lightyear.
I gotta go with Buzz, man.
Buzz.
Yeah.
Neither of them are loyal.
No.
Pretty much, but I still.
I think Buzz is better. Cameron's just a wet blanket.
Jimmy Olsen, Superman, and R2-D2.
R2-D2 is, first of all, I don't think he's the sidekick.
Yeah,
C-3PO is the sidekick.
But
R2-D2 is the hero of Star Wars. In every single movie, he saves everybody. He saved Luke Skywalker. He saved Han Solo. He saved Princess Leia. He saved Anakin Skywalker before he became Darth Vader. So, it's technically R2's fault that we had Darth Vader, but, we can get into that later.
He did create an evil villain that roamed the galaxy. Yeah, that kind of makes it tough. But Jimmy Olsen basically is like, his number one trait is that he just screws up enough that Superman has to save him all the time. So I've got to go with the guy, the Astro Droid, that's constantly working on his own issues while he's running around with a complete doofus that he has to go through the galaxy with. R2-D2 makes it for me, bro.
Yeah, I'm on R2. Mr. Maddox.
R2.
Okay.
I hate Superman.
We've got obviously from Lord of the Rings. If there is a friend,
nope, Mr. Wilson,
Sam,
and then we got Mr. Wilson, the iconic sidekick from Castaway, Tom Hanks.
Mr. Wilson is my pick.
See, now you say Mr. Wilson, but Mr. Wilson kind of abandoned him, and it's like when it's a moment of need and his mental suffering, he takes off on the next wave. So got to say Lord of the Rings, man.
It's not his fault.
Samwise is again the hero of Lord of the Rings because the ring would not have been destroyed without him. Frodo was a little bitch, okay, and Sam had to put him over his shoulder, walk up the hill.
I agree. Samwise. Garth Algar.
Same
This
picture.
is-
Sidekick.
Why'd
This
you
is
use
easy.
the same picture for both?
It is easy.
To Wayne's World, obviously, and then
Garth.
Hermione from Harry
Garth.
Potter.
Garth.
Oh,
Garth.
Hermione. What are you talking about?
No
Like,
way.
Well,
Hermione
look,
went-
Garth
Hermione
does
went
have the
after-
gremlin, but first of all, it should be Ron, not Hermione. Ron is much more Harry's sidekick, but Hermione's way better
Yes.
than Garth.
Yeah,
Again,
Garth is.
Garth is just there.
He
She's
exists.
saved everybody's life multiple times.
Yeah, he just sits on the couch and drives the car and eats the. Yeah, he's a goofball, but we're
I
talking
can't tell
about
you guys haven't. I can't tell you guys haven't watched Wayne's World.
What are you talking about?
Whoa!
We're talking R2D2. We're talking Robin. I'm not putting Garth Algar in the mix of those characters.
Well, that's the reason why you do it.
Look, Garth has no chance against Spock, so I'm trying to line it up. Does somebody here have a chance against Spock? It definitely is not Garth. So, Luigi versus Watson.
Oh, Watson
Watson.
easily kills Luigi. I'm sorry, poor Luigi.
Mr. Maddox. Yep.
Yeah, Watson.
Okay. Falcon
Chewbacca.
versus
Oh,
Chewie.
Chewbacca. Sure, yeah, Chewbacca. No
Okay.
thinking about that one.
R2.
R2. Okay.
R2.
Buzz can suck it. Oh,
I don't care.
Sam.
Yeah, I would say Sam.
Yeah, I think so.
He did say, I mean, Dr. Brantley, but the ring is still the ring is still exists if he's not there. So
Yeah,
and,
that whole thing of Lord of the Rings could have just been ended if they just dropped that ring in fire, and they wouldn't have to worry about where
30-second movie, but you know,
volcanoes.
you need to sell a trilogy, bro.
Stupid.
Watson versus Chewbacca.
Dr. Watson.
Chewbacca.
Chewbacca.
Oh God, because I'm thinking Watson.
Chewbacca is synonymous with
Watson isn't synonymous with Sherlock Holmes.
yeah.
Sherlock couldn't get through the day without
Literally.
Watson.
Mhm.
Chewbacca is there. Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, put on the deflectored shields and stuff.
Now ask yourself, when somebody was getting sucked into carbonite and shit, like at least Dr. Watson was gone when, like, Moriarty pushes, like, Sherlock Holmes over Rickenbach Falls. For God's sakes.
All Chewbacca did was
Yeah.
I
I gotta
can't
go with
believe
Dr. Watson, man.
This
Watson.
is
Chewbacca.
Chet. Chewbacca. What are we
Chewbacca.
talking about here?
It's Chewbacca.
the ultimate sidekick.
No,
It's
kidding me?
Chewbacca.
I don't think
Well,
so.
let me tell you
Not
something.
even on this. No,
From the 1800s, Watson's been around.
to today. Yeah.
Come on. It's like, it's very easy.
Okay, then I'll give it to Chewbacca.
Because
This is going to be a tough one.
You know,
This is gonna be a tough one.
Chewbacca
If we're talking about, does the sidekick, because we have to on this one, does a sidekick add to and complement or take away from? So if it adds to and complements like Watson does, then sure, like we can give it to Watson.
Yeah, Chewie doesn't add too much.
He doesn't add a lot. I mean, he's a good pilot, but I mean, anyone
not
can
a lot
fly
of
the
discussion
fucking-
with Han about what they should do.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
all right.
he's a doctor. He can
R2D2.
do all the medical stuff that Sherlock doesn't know about.
Yeah.
R2
R2
versus Sam.
R2.
Wise.
R2.
Easily.
Get that Lord
Look,
of the Rings crap out of
Sam
here.
saved, one ring, threw it in. Yeah. R2 has saved the galaxy multiple times. The
Many
galaxy,
times.
not just one planet.
Yeah. R2. Watson.
R2.
Yeah, this one's kind of tough on this one.
It's
Uh,
R2.
I'm still
yeah,
going to go,
R2.
I think, has
It's
to be
R2.
R2.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dr. Watson.
It's R2. And ladies and gentlemen,
Oh,
our
God.
finals.
Oh,
Spock
Oh,
versus
this-
R2.
This is still R2.
Well, I will tell
Ju-
you why. I'll tell you why it's R2. Because R2 was a sidekick to Luke, and he was a sidekick to C-3PO, and he did it both well. You can't say that about Spock
And Anakin.
and Anakin.
Mhm. Well, you go through 3. Yeah, it's the rule
And
of 3.
unfortunately, Ray
Yeah.
as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Bum,
about
bum,
that.
bum, bum.
I might have to deduct a point for that. Actually,
Honestly, we need to do like a retrospect on R2D2 because now I'm thinking about it, he is the most
like-
influential Star Wars character.
Well,
of all time.
if you think about all the Star Wars movies, they're just about R2D2's like storyline. It's the same thing with all the Marvel movies. They're just storylines for Black Widow. So like R2D2 is going to take this one, especially because Spock has done a bunch of cool things, and like I'll give him that. But like we just said, R2D2 has saved many people and galaxies. So
They have both died and come back to life. R2 was murdered at the end of Star Wars and then shows up all brand new at the end in the throne room.
yep.
So are
It's
we
gotta be
saying,
R2?
we're saying R2D2 reigns above.
ladies
Best
and
sidekick
gentlemen,
of all time, although I still think he's not a sidekick. He's the main
Ladies and
character of Star
gentlemen.
Wars.
R2D2 is your champion. Best sidekick. This little asteroid
I have to
has
say-
defeated all of these legendary sidekicks.
Galaxy saving, like I said, across certain different areas, he's jumped in and everything. So he's made it to the Mandalorian, he's made it to the prequels, he's made it to the sequels. R2D2, ladies and gentlemen.
R2D2. Now, please drop a comment if we forgot any. I know there was a few others, honorable mentions. Dr. Brantley, we probably left off the list that probably would not have beaten R2D2.
No.
But if we missed any, please comment in the channel. But Dr. Brantley, any others that we forgot?
Yes, well, I'm thinking Igor from Young Frankenstein.
Yep.
Ooh.
Barney Rubble to Fred Flintstone. He's always there.
Yep.
Moose Lodge, they're brothers, Oates. Now, sure, he would not have won because he is a disloyal sidekick suing Hall, but that's how it goes. Walter Sobchak, the dude's sidekick in bowling
Yep.
and in life.
Well, I don't know, man. Can you really say?
Well,
he's
he
good
messes up a
because
bunch.
it's like
Makes life worse.
He's the kind of sidekick that you actually don't need because he pulled a gun out in a bowling alley, for God's sake. So no,
He doesn't make life easier,
times are
but
different
he's a
then.
good
Times are different
sidekick.
then.
Let me tell you something. The dude probably should have kind of broke off that friendship.
Yeah. Fair
Willow on Buffy. Always
Mhm.
there, a good friend, even when she goes bad and all the other stuff. Still
Peck.
shows up.
I'm a little surprised
Tattoo?
you didn't say Speedy. He is on heroin and he's still rocking with Green Arrow. Like a junkie and a superhero. You won't see that happen too often.
Well,
Yeah.
and there's a reason he was running around so quickly. Tattoo on Fantasy Island.
Mhm.
Mr. Rourke couldn't
the plane.
apparently run a whole island without him. Brian Griffin. Now, this is the one I think should have been on there because he's not only to Stewie, but to
Yep.
Peter. He is the sidekick, and they both go on many adventures, each one of them separately.
Can't, but he wouldn't have won because he's like a pompous drunk. It's like, come on.
When's that stopped a sidekick? Come on.
Well, R2D2's been sober this whole entire time.
And then Hit Girl to Kick Ass,
Uh-huh.
and Arthur for the Tick.
Yeah, well, Arthur is probably a little bit more low.
Yeah. Do you think we said Robin to Batman? Would Alfred be a sidekick to Batman?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
way
that's
more
what's up.
loyal than any of the Robins.
and probably would have won a few of those rounds.
Yeah,
Probably so.
easily. But I don't think any of those would have defeated our eventual champion.
No.
Alfred doesn't beat
R2D2.
R2D2.
No, not at all. Well, that concludes our best of series. For those of you who again are watching or viewing, if you'd like us to do a best of, please drop us a comment in the channel. Tag us on all of our social platforms. We've done a bunch of them. So if you look back the past 20 plus episodes, we've done best ofs. But if you want something that we could talk about, we're happy to do it. Just a couple of different things before we jump into our sponsor. This weekend is Royal Rumble, big wrestling event. Lots of controversy in the world of wrestling. Vince McMahon, a lot of crazy things happening, but big event that's happening tomorrow. The Tech Master is back. Tech Master has posted a video on our Shadow Knows Network, so check that out. We'll also be doing kind of a post Rumble video. We got hot points with Chet Maddox, more unbox videos coming up, new retrospects with an Indiana Jones retrospect that I'm looking forward to. And then also some additional toy hunt videos with the Shadow himself, who made a guest appearance last week. Please like, comment, subscribe. But Mr. Storm, in conclusion, our sponsor for every episode.
Well, like I said again, we go through this point where we're talking about corporate and all, like, the big, cold, heartless individuals that run the world and everything. And we've got to really say that our sponsor, Toys vs. Games in Wilmington, California, is a mom and pop store that is most definitely needed in this era of the big box stores. They are the one place that you can go to that they'll remember your name. They're going to try to get you the product that you need. And hopefully, they don't have to do crazy price gouging, because they're in it because they actually care more than the Targets and the Walmart. So if you find yourself in Wilmington, California, go to Toys vs. Games, the same name, Toys vs. Games, on Instagram to find out their information, or you can just tag one of us here and we'll just let you know. But we like to thank them for the last, we're on episode 24, and about 20 of these episodes, they've been our sponsors. So we thank them for that.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks for tuning in this evening. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend for Shadowe Crew Podcast, episode 24, and we will see you next week. Adios.
The Shadowe Crew Podcast.